I'm Tina Tomato. I have been using budgeting apps for the past 6 years. Budgeting has definitely played a very important role in my life. It helped me pay off my student loans, save for vacations, buy my own place, and also build up my savings at a steady pace, all without compromising my quality of life. In this video, I'll be talking about 2 budgeting apps that I have used to talk about how I use them and also the pros and cons of each, to hopefully help you decide which one is more suitable for you. I also want to point out to you that I have another video where I talk about the budgeting method that I use, the 50-20-30 principle, and also the different things that you should be including in your budget. So if you haven't seen that video, I highly recommend you watch that first. So to get started with YNAB, the first thing you do is to create your account. And you can either do that with a linked account, which means you give YNAB the authorization to access information from your bank, so that all your data will be reflected on the YNAB app without you having to do any work, which means you don't have to update how much you have in each account. You don't have to manually enter in transactions, so it saves you a lot of time. The other kind of account you can create is an unlinked account, and this basically means you have to do everything manually. Okay, first off, I just want to mention that their onboarding process is really nice. YNAB really mapped out every single thing that you need to do to get started with the app. However, YNAB does have some really good training material on their website as well. The materials are not only about how to use the app, it's more about their entire budgeting philosophy. So if you're someone that's new to budgeting, I highly recommend you check out their website and just learn a little bit more about the topic, because even if you choose not to use YNAB, you can still apply these learnings to other budgeting apps. The next thing after you have your account set up is to review the budget categories. And this is where YNAB shines. So even when you first come to the app, YNAB has already come up with a list of budget categories for you. And you can basically just use that as is. Or you can totally change it up and use the 50-20-30 rule and categorize your budgets into essentials, financial priorities, and life choices. YNAB's budget categories are very flexible. You can easily reorder items, put the item that you view most frequently on top, and you can add, edit, delete, change the budget amount very easily. They have definitely designed this feature with a real budgeter in mind. Next, you want to enter your transactions and compare your spendings against the budget that you have set up. There's 3 ways that YNAB allows you to input transactions. One is through linked account, which just means you don't have to do anything. Every day, YNAB is going to pull the new transactions that have been cleared. All your transactions are automatically being pulled from your bank account, and you can always trust that everything is accurate, and it's really a time saver. The second way is to do it by importing like a CSV file, but basically every bank supports this, and you can just go to your online banking website and find the export functionality and then import it to YNAB. This approach is supposed to be more convenient than typing in your transactions one by one and more secure than linked account. And lastly, you can always enter in your transactions one by one. That's something that I did for the past 6 years, and I honestly thought I would be doing that for the rest of my life, but this is definitely the most time-intensive way to go about it. So for the transactions that have been imported through linked account, there is something else you have to do, which is I think every time when YNAB pulls the information, you have to review it and make sure that they have been assigned to the right category. YNAB will also notify you when a new transaction has been recorded, basically forcing you to review all your spendings. And I think that's a really good thing for someone that's trying to get on top of their finances. Okay, so overall, I really like YNAB. I think it's an exceptional budgeting app. The linked account feature definitely makes everything super convenient, and the app design is very thoughtful. You can just tell that they made the app with real people in mind. Overall, it just feels like the app really gets out of the way so that you can focus on the work that you need to do. So the cons for YNAB is that it is a paid app. It's $11.99 USD per month or $84 USD per year if you get the annual subscription, which gives you a $59 saving. They do have a 34-day free trial, and you can try it out and see whether that's worth it for you or not. If you're a student, then good news to you, because I think they offer it for free to students as long as you can prove that you're a current student. And then there's probably even discounts for new grads. The second con is for linked accounts. This feature is only available for people who have banks in North America, so that's United States and Canada. So if your banks are outside of North America and you cannot take advantage of this linked account feature, I personally don't think it's worth the $11.99. And lastly, I'm going to give my rating for YNAB. I think pricing is 3 out of 5. Ease of use is 4.5 out of 5. I took half a point off because there were some new features like goal setting that wasn't immediately clear to me. So I definitely need to do more digging to find out how it works. For learning curve, I would give it a 4 out of 5 because budgeting in general has a little bit of learning curve. So if you're totally new to the app, you probably need to watch some of their videos to get the hang of it. For convenience, I think it's 5 out of 5. And overall, I would give it a 4.5 out of 5. So here is how I use Mint. So first you want to link all your bank accounts. So there is actually no way to use Mint without linking your bank account because that's what they're known for. The process of linking your bank account is very easy. I was able to link all my banks as well as my investment accounts so that I could really see everything in one place. I wish I could link my mortgage account as well, but because I'm with a smaller mortgage company, I wasn't able to find that institution. Unfortunately, Mint only supports banks in North America. So if you have a bank elsewhere, then I don't think it's an app for you. One thing that I thought was really cool is that Mint can actually estimate the value of your property, but it doesn't support properties outside of United States, so I wasn't able to get an estimation. So I think it can give you a even more holistic view on your finances. So after linking your account, the next thing that you want to do is to set up your budget on Mint. So what you want to do is take the budget that you created from the previous video where I show you how to create a budget that suits your situation based on the 50-20-30 rule. The categories that you want to include are essentials and life choices. You don't need to include your financial priorities into your budget because Mint only count your spendings as a part of your budget. Okay, so the budgeting feature is really where Mint is inferior to YNAB. It doesn't allow you to create multi-level budgets. Like if I want to put a few things under essentials and then a few things under life choices, it doesn't actually allow me to do that. And also Mint comes with like 100 default categories and there's no way to remove them. Not everything applies to everyone, but we're all kind of forced to look at all of them every time we try to categorize a transaction. There's also no way to reorder your budget, so everything is just kind of jumbled, and every time you look for something you have to like really try to find it because its place always changes. So when you link your bank accounts to Mint, it will automatically import as many transactions as possible. So right off the bat you can start categorizing each transactions and also start analyzing your spending habits. Mint will automatically try to categorize all the transactions for you, but they don't get it right every time. So you just have to kind of review every one and readjust it whenever you see fit. You might think this is a lot of work, but it's actually so much easier than entering in the transactions one by one. I will say when you first start, just do it for the most recent month instead of trying to do it for all the past months. Another feature that Mint has that I think is really cool is the ability to tag a transaction. And I actually kind of use it as a hack to its inflexible budgeting feature. So basically I set up a tag for each of the budget categories like essentials, life choices, and financial priorities. And I will tag each transaction as one of them. That way I can review how much I'm spending in each of these categories because this is actually what I care about the most. I also set up 2 more tags for my work-related expenses. One for my design work, like apps, going to meetup events, and courses. And then the other one is for my YouTube-related expenses. And then lastly, the reports that I like to review are the trend report by tags and also the net worth report. So now let's talk about the pros and cons of using Mint. The number 1 pro is of course that it's a free app. It has the ability to link accounts, which actually removes 70% of the work that you need to do when it comes to budgeting. I was able to link all my Canadian banks and investment accounts successfully. Depending on where you are, it also has the ability to estimate the value of your home, which gives you a more accurate picture of your finances. Overall, it's a full full-featured personal finance app that is free, but you definitely need to spend some time to figure out how to use it for your situation. If you're not a hardcore budgeter, then it can really be a good choice for you. Okay, for the cons, number one, it definitely have to be the limited budgeting capability, like not supporting multi-level budget categories. It doesn't allow you to remove any of their built-in categories, and also there is no support for reordering or renaming budget categories. Another thing is that not every institution is supported. Currently, it's limited to North American banks. I also ran into some bugs. Sometimes when you try to recategorize a transaction or when you try to add a new transaction, it actually doesn't get persisted. And also there's some refresh issues that I have run into. And then number four is usability. I think Mint was probably at one point an industry leader because it was one of the first apps that sync with banks. But I think at this point it's definitely built by like a technology first product leader, because like they have all these features, but the product decisions are really questionable. I think overall it just feels like that Intuit has lost interest in this product. Maybe it's because it's not bringing in any revenue for the company. But yeah, it definitely feels like an abandoned product. But I think there's so much potential with Mint and they have such a great foundation. But at this point, it's far from perfect. Now let's rate the app. Pricing is definitely 5 out of 5. Ease of use, I will give it a 2.5 out of 5. A lot of the product decisions made the product really difficult to use, like not being able to reorder budgets, not being able to customize your expenses, and there's also a lot of page loads, which makes the app really slow. For learning curve, I would give it a 4 out of 5 because you actually don't need to know how to budget to use Mint because so much of it is automatic. But if you want to get more out of this app, then you definitely need to do more research. And then for convenience, I will give it a 3 out of 5 because of the usability problems. Actually, I would take away another half star because of the bugs. So overall, I would rate Mint as a 3.5 out of 5. Okay, so in closing, which one should you choose? If you have debt or student loans, or if you have a more aggressive set of financial goals, I would actually recommend YNAB, even though it is a paid app. And the reason is because it's more strict and it just forces you to take a clear look at your finances every day. And I think I personally would probably go back to YNAB eventually, unless Mint decides to pick up the slack. I'll end the video today with a Chinese idiom, which is 你不理财，财不理你, which means if you ignore money, then money will ignore you. And there's another quote by Peter Drucker that I really like, which is you can't improve what you don't measure. Hopefully that will give you some motivation to get started. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have a budgeting or personal finances app that you would like to recommend, please leave it in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I love to share products and methods that make life better. Bye!